R&P faithful, you guys ready for Reignited? Oh, I think we're getting ready, chat. I think we're getting ready. I don't have the right button on, but that's fine too, I guess. It's gonna be a show, guys. It's just gonna be a show. All right, let's get the dudes on the screen right now. What's going on, everybody?
Hi guys, what's up? Hadouken.
We are
Sonny,
a little
fired up tonight, baby. It's Thursday night. We reignited. We all fired up.
well. We're 2/3 fired up, as the dudes are already aware. I am very much under the weather. I have I have been, green faced all day long. So we are going to get ourselves going. Most of this is going to be the dudes. If I need to, if I need to step away, chat, I will do this, and you will see that there is no Cam Titus's sick. So that way you're aware. If Titus is just gone, then you'll know why. But the dudes got you covered. Speaking of the dudes, I should. Let's introduce them. They're both on my left, but not in my screen, they're not. On my left, the man from Maine himself, my tag team brother from another mother. That's the Coastal Crusader.
What's going on, everybody? We had a great tag match on Charge tonight. We got a new tag team. They're starting to come into their own. Little smoke and mirrors. Chocolate City takes care of it, but it was a good match.
And our third member of our trio, the man who's the hottest growing independent referee on the East Coast, my buddy, the masshole himself, Marky Pins.
What's good, everybody? What an ignition we saw tonight. We saw the champ in action against Brewmark. We saw Chopper City. We also saw the law office, and there's a little bit of dismay going on in the corporate setting at RMP right now. We'll have to get into a little bit of that, but we got some matches to talk about first.
We do, and if my notes are correct, and making sure I didn't miss anything, our opening contest was Jason Knoll taking on the charged champion Briscoe Crown. Let's go with Marky and talk to the folks about this matchup.
Jason Knoll brings this unbridled power. We talk about him every single week, and tonight is absolutely no different. Briscoe's fighting from behind for a lot of this match. That's kind of a theme that we're going to talk about later on. The champion's kind of fighting from behind tonight, like the challengers really stepping games up. We've seen it over the last few weeks, and tonight's no different. Jason keeps an obvious power advantage over Briscoe the entire match. Coastal, we saw Briscoe like chipping and trying to scratch and claw, and then at the very end, Briscoe comes up and gets a big win out of an unexpected situation. He kind of rolled over a suplex and just flattened Jason Knoll. This is Briscoe Crown finding ways to win. We talk about it every week, but the champ finding a way to get out of dodge and get a win against a much bigger opponent.
This is what champions do, Marky. This is what Briscoe Crown has always done. He's found a way to win when he needs to. They mentioned on the broadcast about when he was going through the injury part earlier this year, when he was still on that winning streak. Makes you wonder, was he going to win that Ignition title if he wasn't hurt? Because tonight he goes up against somebody who's very similar to Zamore, who he wrestled for that Ignition title. He's now the Charge champion, and he learned a whole lot, I think, from the Zamore experience, because we saw him use his quickness. We saw him try to modify the crowning achievement there at the end. He tried to get it out of a corner. It didn't work, and then he just finally went to, the most devastating move in wrestling, the small package roll-up. And he finds a way to win. Is it how he wanted to win? Probably not, but he won. That's what he wanted to do. So mission accomplished for Briscoe.
My thought is that there's nothing bad. There's no negative to losing to a small package. It's not like it's a victory roll or something like that.
Those never work.
Moving on to the law office. We heard from the law office just recently. Something that was said, Coastal, by Preston Skidmore. I don't care how you pronounce it.
Skidmore.
Skidmore.
Nickname established.
Oh,
Yeah.
skid mark. That's great. He said something about contracts, and now this week it appears that he is on the phone with I'm going to assume is the RMP lawyers, and it seems that he says you guys are a tag team again. Didn't get into specifics. We don't know anything at this point, but everything was worked out, and then I guess Danger Dean picks up Coastal on the phone, and well, I'll let you take the rest.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember party lines, but back in the day, you kind of shared a phone line with the person down the street, and if that person was nosy, they'd be listening in. And it sounds like Danger Dean was on the other end of the party line tonight, listening in on this conversation. We hear Preston talk about, you don't want a lawsuit. No one wants that. This dude is like, he is going to the ends of the earth to try and make his clients happy, because he knows that if they get mad, they're just going to dump him. I think before he didn't care too much because he's like, maybe I'll get like 2 Christmases. Maybe I'll get 2 of everything. And then I think he realized I ain't getting nothing. So this is kind of grasping at straws. And I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 lately. They do a lot of D&D, and there's something called the Devil's Bargain. And I don't know if he made one of these with whoever he talked to. But as we find out, Marky, he kind of promised some things that weren't his to promise, it sounded like. One of those being Caden Koyama has to have a one-on-one match with the returning Dak Draper. As good as Caden is, that's a mismatch. But it seems like Johnny kind of got the raw end of the deal on this. Yeah, Caden's going to take maybe a beating from Dak Draper, but Johnny's going to cash in a title shot that he earned, Marky. And I kind of agree. He's none too happy here, and I really think he kind of got hosed in this whole situation.
Well, I mean, that's one viewpoint. The other viewpoint is, yes, you won this opportunity, which he did at the Charge Championship at a future date, but nevertheless, I don't know what the situation was, but I don't know if that person who won it was granted amnesty to pick it whenever they wanted. So we don't know the details of all of that. We know what RMP has said, that he is going to get this opportunity. He should honestly just shut his mouth and be happy he gets the opportunity at such a prestigious championship against a good fighting champion at this moment. But that's not even what I want to really bring up here. At the very end of this, when Preston, skid mark, and Johnny kind of leave the room, you see Caden's face. Caden's kind of face bombing here. He doesn't look none too happy with this. I think, in a sense, he kind of realizes that a lot of this might be backhanded compliments or everything else from POS. POS is in business for himself. JK Pop is his means to the paycheck. And I don't think Preston really worries too much who they're fighting, just the fact that he's getting what he wants to, in the end, get all of what he wants. And I think this is step 1 of that. But if this is what JK Pop want to get back together, they're going to have to shut up and put their pedal to the metal, because if this is the path, they have to walk it.
Marky, you got to remember one thing too. They have deemed him their legal counsel. So therefore, he makes decisions for them.
I was going to bring that up. One of the two of you said, I don't know if he has the ability to. I'm going to tell you, I have a little experience in that realm, and he absolutely does. That would be. There's no way. I'm not a lawyer. I have that much of a soul. But there's no way anyone in his position in the history of professional wrestling would accept a contract in which they did not have power of attorney in the decision-making of matches for their client. So he absolutely has the ability to do that. I'm interested more in, at this point, guys, and we're going to speculate a lot here because we don't know anything other than what we saw, but there's a lot of politics that are going to go along here that really kind of interest me moving forward. You were talking about getting, his money. Does he make money only as JK Pop, the tag team? Maybe he doesn't earn money on the single side. Who knows? But yeah, there's that backstage stuff. Are they just going to go, you know what? Let's just take the little L, got the big dub. But the big dub is what I really wanted to speculate on. How is his words, you guys are a tag team. Didn't say they're JK Pop.
Right.
Didn't say
That's what
that.
worries me.
Yeah, speculation time. I hand it to you guys. Put on your tinfoil hat. I live with mine, so don't worry. How? That's what I want to talk about.
I figured it out, and I think, you know how last week I said he's a master of semantics? I believe he's going to go with the angle of they can't be JK Pop, the tag team. So now they're probably going to be Johnny and Caden Pop. It's like the whole Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby, and Under Pressure thing. Yeah, it's just a little different, so we can't sue them.
If they get away with that, haven't they gotten away with enough over the last few years? Is how much manipulation comes out of this camp month in and month out? I wouldn't doubt it, though. We've seen them manipulate so many other rules so much more deeply than this. Honestly, Coastal, I wouldn't put it past the man.
Because, yeah, he said you're a tag team. He didn't say JK Pop's a tag team.
Correct.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's fair.
In chat, and then we'll go back to Marky. In chat, Hunter Dillon 95 says, Dean better not make them a tag team again. A step is a step. Dean made the match. He made the step. If he backpedals, oh boy. Marky, are you totally subscribing to Coastal's way of thinking, or do you have a different speculation on what this means?
To be honest, at this moment, what Coastal said kind of makes sense, that he is going to somehow manipulate the wording of what constitutes a tag team and what their name is, if it's a defunct type of thing. I think we're going to look at some verbal manipulation on paper as far as to what this goes. But I don't know if there's a way to get them back together as a tag team any other way, because that step is that step. However, we have seen Preston play emotional games. We've seen him play legal games. We've seen him play games on paper. We've seen him find the way to cut that piece of red tape that was holding him back before. And to be honest, I am not that low of a human being that I can't even speculate how low Preston would go to get them back together, to make sure that he keeps getting that 20%.
Well, I've been that low of a human being, and I will say that what does impress me at this juncture about Preston Skidmore, I'm going to be professional here. What does impress me is he subscribes to he subscribes to a way of life that only I think people like myself really can appreciate. And there's that little bit of a respect thing coming from me. He subscribes by any means necessary. This is a very Machiavellian move, in my opinion. This is a move where he is, look, we can say, Coastal, you might be 100% right. Legalese is legalese does. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, the new tag team here at Rocky Mountain Pro, Johnny and Caden Pop. That would be just fantastic. It'd be brilliant. It would be really brilliant.
The team formerly known as
known as JK Pop.
It'll be a symbol.
Like Prince.
Oh no.
It could be that. It could be one of a dozen different legal maneuverings, and that's what I think we saw was a legal conversation. It sounded like he was speaking to a colleague. There's in your outside of pro wrestling life, when you're talking to Mark, you're talking to other bowling owners. You guys have a way of talking to one another.
Correct.
That we as non-bowling alley owners may not completely understand, or a relaxedness or something that's there when you're speaking to them. And that's what it felt like here. Did it not? It felt like he was having a professional colleague conversation. Maybe the RMP lawyers.
Did.
That's why I said.
When you bring it up like that, yes, it does sound like he was speaking to other peers and speaking the language that those type of people completely understand.
He was using the lingo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what troubles me.
And then he was getting off that phone. And as you said, that party line, man, whether Preston knew or didn't know, And I will say this is a conversation in Colorado, clearly. This is a one-party state, meaning I could be having a video conference with you, recording it. Long as one of us knows it's being recorded, it's legal. So
Maine is the same way.
So, Preston doesn't have to know that necessarily that Danger Dean is maybe, three-wayed in on this call and is just sitting there listening. And it sounded like, as Preston was saying goodbye, it sounded like, oh, hey, is that Dean? Oh my God, is that Dean? Completely like he didn't have a clue he was there. God,
tone change.
God knows what he might have said on that call that we didn't see. Oh, that dumbass Dean and da-da-da-da-da. And Dean's going, oh, yeah, okay. Hunter follows up and said that would be the scummiest move in RMP history if he did that. It's also not completely in his hands. I'm not, Dean is, he's compounded by what the lawyers tell him. I mean, let's just be real here. When you have a lawyer saying, you have to do this. I don't want to. It doesn't matter what you want.
He has to exercise
and
the
that
rule,
might have
what
been,
they say.
Dean might have realized, hey, I got caught. Oh, by the way, okay.
He had a backup plan.
Yeah, and Johnny, you're putting your title shot up. So have fun, guys.
I almost hear the other side of this conversation and thinking of, the lawyer and Dean having a conversation prior to making that phone call. And, excuse me, sorry. And then, having a game plan and but nobody he said, what did he say? Nobody wants to go to court. Because, God, this could take years.
Right.
And then Dean must have popped up and said something to the effect of, what was the terms? That was Johnny has to exercise his anytime, anywhere contract.
Yeah, and Cade needs to wrestle the
and was that next week? RMP put in chat. Next week we get to see Caden Koyama in a one-on-one match with Dak Draper. Oh, I'm there next. I'm there Tuesday.
It's gonna be really good.
I mean, Caden's kind of a knucklehead right along with brother, but we've talked about Caden's prowess, and I mean, Dak Draper taking nothing away. That's going to be a banger. Don't sleep on that match whatsoever. Caden's going to go out there fighting like hell, because if you get put into the match, you might as well go out and fight like hell, and he will.
We spent a lot of time on that, so let's move ahead and move on. Next matchup we got was Panthro taking on Echo. And I noticed, Marky, that Echo looked like he was wearing his La Isla trunks.
Yes.
So
like he had him on.
It felt like a little bit like of the old Echo in that match a little bit. What is your thought?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very good way to say it. That this kind of was a little more Echo, right? There was a little less that lately that attitude he's had, that like anger kind of being, in the moment, but a little too early in the moment. So it lets you the moment takes control of you. We've seen a lot of that out of Echo lately, and I think there's been a lot of misguided comments of people saying that this is problems with him and Balaam, but we're going to get to that in a little bit of a second. I do want to pose something that may tie that together, but when we start talking about this match here, Echo and Panthro, this is an outstanding match. We've seen these guys tussle many times before, and this doesn't disappoint again. Echo's hurting. His ribs are still hurting from last time, and he still keeps the jacket on, little protection maybe on the ribs. He's got them taped up a little bit. Panthro sees it as a target, attacks it. Very good back and forth. Every time Echo gets a little bit of fire, Panthro snuffs it out. Then at the end, when it does look like Echo is going to get that last burst, and it's going, and he's going to have control, we might see that foot stomp or that beautiful senton that he throws. Jason Knoll comes out, helps out his buddy Panthro, and the whole thing goes to hell. Ref throws the whole thing out. We get a no contest. But see, this is where I want to bring it up, because the match was very good. That's how the match ended. But Coastal, I got to bring it up. Everybody's been talking about it, and we've been kind of sitting here going, no, because I don't believe it, to be honest. But yo, dude, Echo took the beatdown of 2023 this year. Later on this evening, after the match, nobody came out and helped him this evening, man. There's Knoll, there's Panthro beating the crap out of him in the center of the ring, and nobody came and helped out the Mockingbird. What's up?
Yeah, no, I don't know what's up. If I can't speak for anybody there because I wasn't there. I don't know where anybody else was. Balaam, they said they hadn't seen him all day, so he wasn't in the building.
And we didn't see him on the
Okay.
show.
And we didn't
Yeah.
see him on the show. I get that, but where was Bossy? Where was Tiba? Like, where was anybody backstage? If I'm Echo, I'm like, okay, my partner's not here and I'm getting beat down. Not one of you guys can come out. If I'm Echo right now, I kind of have a thing like, okay, if Balaam is my only friend and he wasn't here, truly he is my only backup. Echo's got to feel like a pretty lonely dude right now, and that can make your mind do weird things, Marky.
That could have been why Noel did it. If Lynx wasn't there, like I'm not trying to stir a pot or nothing here, but if Lynx wasn't there, like, okay, I get it. You know, Echo went to war and stuff. But maybe that could have been why Jason and Panthro kind of figured out that this was the time to take him out.
I don't
when he's
know,
already
Marky.
down, kick him.
If you look, they look at the back like they're waiting for people to come out, and no one comes out. So they just keep the beat down going. I think they tried to draw somebody out, or they tried to draw Balaam out if he was there, and just nobody came out. That's the big thing that I'm getting. That's got to be
maybe they
running through
knew
Echo's
that
head.
Balaam wasn't there, and they were goading somebody else to come out. Maybe it was a target. It wasn't about Echo more than, hey, if we attack Echo, we know Balaam's not here. Maybe so and so who's friends with Echo, they'll run out,
Or
and
the
that's
tag
who they
champs
want
come
to
out,
run out.
and they get a free shot at the tag champs.
Who knows?
You know, Echo's a good dude backstage, hung out with him. He's got a lot of friends, you know, a lot of people that would go to war with him too. This might have just been a time when they weren't paying attention, and Jason and Panthro just were in the right place at the right time to get it done. But other statement made by those two, and unfortunately at Echo's expense, and Echo's already having a hard time with things in his own dome, like we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. This is just going to be, I think, some more sauce on top of an already full bowl of pasta here.
I will defend Marky. You've spent time in locker rooms.
Yes.
It's not always, wrestlers don't sit in the back and just, watch the monitors. They're available if you're in, in the backstage area, the go position or gorilla position, depending on what to call it. I mean, there are some TVs that, but sometimes I want to see this match. Let's see what, but you also have to, get yourself warmed up, do all the pre-game stuff that a wrestler has to do to get ready for going into a hand-to-hand combat. And you're not always watching the monitor.
True. There's a lot that goes into preparing yourself for a match, and you're not
someone
always
shows
watching
up,
the TV.
You're like, oh my God, I got to go help. I got my buddy. But by the time you get there, especially the Wimmer's a good sized backstage area. Before you get there, and Echo's already made it to the curtain. You were just late. I don't know. So maybe it's not he doesn't have friends. It's just that maybe it just was a perfect
Wrong place,
storm.
wrong time.
Everything just sort of worked out that way. I don't know.
We hope he's all right, though.
Hope he's all right.
He's a good friend here on the Dudes and Belts. Great friend of the dudes. So hope he's all right.
I look kindly, as you two guys know, towards Echo. We have a very strong relationship, a strong friendship. I think of him as as a son. So yeah, he's a tough kid. He's gonna let this deflect off of him. Following up that matchup, we had what I think was a kind of a sleeper match. If you weren't thinking this was going to be something, Coastal, this really was a pretty strong matchup. We have Tengu taking on Remy D, who made his return to Charged just a few days ago. Here on we talked about it already. It was last week. Excuse me. Tengu and Remy. Let's talk about that match, Coastal.
Yeah, Tengu surprised the hell out of me tonight. Tengu came out and just took it to Remy and didn't take any steps back. And really, this is kind of one of those things. You learn a lot from matches you kind of think you might not have a chance to win. And while Tengu was on fire tonight, Remy has a mission. You saw it in the moves that Remy was doing. They all had that little extra on them, the extra slams. The snake eyes into the drive-by, into the rolling thunder thighs. That's something we hadn't seen in a while, and it looks so fluid. Even though we see Tengu hit some big moves, a face buster. That face buster, I thought Tengu had a win there. That was huge. It came out of nowhere. Kind of woke Remy up a little bit. I think really kind of made Remy mad because Remy really worked those knees and then gets into that figure four and then pops up. I'm going to call it the capital D because I think that's a pretty cool name for a finisher like that. The capital D. Remy gets a win.
Yeah.
Little respect afterwards. I like, Remy's on a mission. Remy is on a mission, Marky. He is coming for what he feels was taken from him. Let's just face it, stolen from him by CVD. But
Very
I think,
unceremoniously, yes.
Marky, I don't think he's coming right after that title. I think he's got unfinished business for the man with the 3 letters for his name.
I think he has plenty of time. And he has plenty of effort and plenty of adrenaline. And this new Remy, him bringing this persona, everything's got that little extra stank on it, right? Like not just the hip toss, but like, the diving down to your knees hip toss and the rolling thunder thighs are landing harder. And everything is harder. Like he is saying, man, the bitch is back. That dude is coming in and just whooping ass. I'm so proud. Good to see Remy. He seems like he's not lost anything. If anything, he's gained 3 steps back.
Yeah.
And Tengu, to his credit tonight, man, I'm telling you, that kid fought like hell. And if it wasn't for that last little mistake, he dove and he just missed. He landed kind of awkward. Remy saw the moment to just end the match. But a little respect at the end. Tengu's fighting his way up the card here. Looking good. We've seen it out of a lot of the young ones coming up. And Tengu is just the next example of why Rocky Mountain just keeps getting better month in and month out, because all the new ones that are coming out are getting better month in and month out, from wrestling those like Remy, like Damon Ace, like Bruce Wayne's, like Atiba, like Echo. They're getting better. Rocky Mountain is getting better, and Tengu is adding to that brilliance on this roster. But Remy D, just too beautiful, just too damn beastly tonight, comes out with the win. Looking good.
That's a great thing about Ignition is a new talent like a Tengu, like a Mick Diamond and a Cushman. They get a chance to be in a match that they wouldn't be in necessarily on Charged, and it gives them a chance to have those opportunities to take on talent above them on the XP bar, where you're getting ready for the big stage of Charged. So it's nice to see the talent responding. Sergey is a great example of that. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But we're going to
we will.
We're going to our Lockettes match of the evening. Speaking of new people, taking advantage of some things here on Ignition. You're getting Noel taking on the new Lockettes champion now for about 3 weeks almost at this point. That'd be Adrian Mascara Coastal. Let's talk about her.
Yeah, you just talked about it. You talked about these younger people stepping up when they're going against, these established stars. And that's what the person across from Adrian has done. Noelle took her beatings early on from Lilith, from other Lockettes, Skylar Slice, and just took her beatings. I'm not going to say it's all what she learned there. There's some mental stuff otherwise than that going on with Noelle that gives her a little bit of an advantage ever since
That's an understatement.
found the darkness or the asylum path. Even though she seems lost without Salem, she's actually wrestling the best I've seen her wrestle ever since her world came crashing down. I don't know if it's just violent desperation to try and do anything to right her world, or if it's just her taking the frustrations of her world out on everybody. But she really does a good job tonight on Adrian. She works Adrian's knees. I really thought that this is one of those matches where Noelle had a good game plan. As messed up as she is in the head, it seems, she got her head on straight when it comes to hurting people. She understood what she needed to do. And Adrian, just, Marky, we talked about it earlier with Briscoe. What do champions do? Find ways to win. She went for that, the armbar early. She really did. And, Noelle got the rope break. Later on, she went for the psychedelic again. Noelle got scrambled to the ropes. I don't know if the first one was considered a rope break, Marky. You could speak on that as an official. I know we only get one rope break. But that wasn't working. She just finds ways to win. She gets another win tonight over Noelle. I got to tell you, Noelle is she's a breakaway from having a title match. And maybe it comes out different against Adrian. But Adrian is showing why she's a great champion, Marky, finding ways to win.
And coming out and fighting every week, not shying down from
Yeah.
the challenge. Bigger, smaller, crazier, more sane, doesn't matter. The kid's just showing up. I'm a miscreant, man. I'm a proud member of the miscreants. So she's come around. I'm on that train 110.
Absolutely.
But you have to give credit to Noelle here, man. This switch has been flipped for a long time in her troubled little head. And she has been bringing the pain, the force, the violence. You said there is a violence in her head. And I don't think it's uncontrolled. I think it is controlled. And I think to where she's at, this is a control over her own violence, which I think it was far worse when there were others there directing her. She's found out now that she knows how to use a body part, grab a body part and absolutely destroy it with 100% prejudice. And she did. And Adrian's knee took the brunt of all of it with the dragon screw and everything. And Adrian survived this match. I don't mean to take anything away, but she found a way to win. She took so much punishment. Noelle had the reversals and the returns for every move. Noelle has been looking better and better, and it's helping to up Adrian's game as the champion. These Locketts are really upping all their own games together by having matches like these. So proud of Adrian for retaining. I know it wasn't for the Locketts match, but she got the win, and Noelle looking good. Both of these women looking good, and I think you're right. Noelle may only be 1 or 2 breaks away. She may not be that far.
She still seems to lack direction. She's looked great in the ring. She just seems to lack a direction. Where's she going? And I think that's once that clicks, we could see a whole new side of her. Because when you have a direction and the focus of where everything is you're putting everything at, that makes you dangerous. Tag team action, and we're gonna go back to Coastal again because he's my tag team guy. He's the guy. Why? I don't know. I was told to say that it's in my script. Anyways, Smoke and Mirrors, McDiamond and Cushman taking on the tag team champions of the world, baby. It is Chapa City Atiba and the Final Boss.
Yeah, and it's always a party when Chopper City comes out, but there wasn't much of a party during this match for them. They really had to work. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the biggest test that they have had since winning those belts. And I don't take that lightly. Smoke and Mirrors were on their game tonight. Mick Diamond looked great. A couple of things here and there. Maybe he took a little too long to tag Cushman. What I got to say is one of the things I loved about them, but again, this is a downfall they have. I absolutely love the double team move, the Wild Stallions elbow drop. I think the air guitar after might have cost them maybe a pinfall. But
love it though.
Again, let's go to the other side here. Bossy says you want to play that game. I can showboat with the best of them, and we get to see the prettiest elbow. Atiba doesn't really take too kindly to being shown up. I've seen because when Bossy has, I believe, Cushman in that crab, Atiba just kneels down and chops him right in the back of the dome piece,
just like, straight in the back of the head. Yeah.
Oh man, it was like just rubbing his face in it. Like these guys, Chopper City has 2 gears: fun and loose, and hurtful and fast. And they're both very dangerous because they can both win in either gear. That's what having fun and being a cohesive unit gets you. Now, you take, well, how come JK Pop was so cool? Well, they're cohesive, and yes, they had fun making other people's lives miserable. As long as you can find a reason to be cohesive with your tag team partner and care, like Chopper City has, and as Lucas said, after they won this, I think there's a long title reign, and those titles are staying in Chopper City.
They're going to stay there as long as they want to have them. Consider the funk brought when Chopper City comes to the ring. Right. It is a party before the bell, and then it's a party for them after the bell more often than not. And you said it 100% right. Cushman and Mick Diamond are getting better. They're becoming far more cohesive. It's almost like they've taken notes from the great tag teams, right? From Chopper City, from JK Pop, from La Isla. They're taking a lot of those things, how to isolate, how to cut the ring in half, and they're doing very, very well. They have to up the intensity, in the Masshole's opinion. They have to up the intensity. Otherwise, they're going to get close, but then in the end, they're going to end up getting destroyed. And we saw that happen here tonight. If they kept the intensity going, Mick Diamond wouldn't have played air guitar on Atiba's arm, and it pissed him off to high heaven. And then later on, next thing you know, Cushman is eating a gigantic sucker buster. And he's looking up at the lights, and things didn't go so good for smoke and mirrors at the end. But good performance by them. But the tag team champions, I think you're right, Coastal. This was one hell of a test for them. Maybe taking them a little lightly on the way to the ring in the beginning, it kind of showed. But I think this might be a wake-up call to literally take nobody lightly, whether it's for the belts or not, whether it's on Ignition or Charged, does not matter. Chopper City has that gear that they can click into and turn it into win mode anytime they want to.
All right, main event time. As we see the Ignition champion Sergey taking
Number one
on
champion, all of Ignition.
who still
Merry
thinks it's Christmas. I don't know
Yeah.
what Christmas is
Can we
where
give him a
he's
snow
from.
globe?
It's just easier. Let him dream. Just let him dream.
Just
Maybe
let him
he still
dream.
loves Santa. He's looking for some Let him dream. It's okay.
Sergey does believe in Santa. That checks.
He
I
does,
still believe in Santa too.
but he's
True.
defending his Ignition championship against Brumach. Marky Pins.
Drew Mock. What a hoss this man is. What a force, what a presence he brings to that ring. He's had a couple tough times in the last, 6-7 months this year, 2023. But man, if he doesn't look good nowadays, coming to the ring, he lost some weight. The intensity is up, and he brings that power to Sergey. Sergey's not ready for this level of power out of Brumach, but Sergey gets his chips in, he gets his chops in. He'd almost fit really well in with Chopper City. A lot of his offense is like the old martial arts chops. You kind of notice that? When he does go up to that first or second rope, he does come down with the chop, and that succeeds more often than not. We saw him go to the top rope tonight, and that did not succeed very, very well. He kept fighting for space, though. It was another match of the champion constantly fighting from behind in this match. Even when he got a little bit of momentum, Brew was there to cut him down. This is Sergey's XP, just being less than many other ones, but Sergey does do a good thing in this match. I think this is something that he's learning on the side, not necessarily offense, but a little bit of defense in the ring. How to get 1 or 2 shots in and get some space. Put 5 or 6 feet between you and your opponent so you can actually put some oxygen back in your lungs, get a breath, and make a decision where you're going to go next. And he does a pretty good job up until, like I said, Brumach catches him off the top rope into the Buffalo Slam. Sergey kicks out of that. But then Sergey, Coastal, we have to talk about this because this was amazing at the end. Sergey came up with a pretty solid combo and beat the Buffalo this evening with an inverted atomic drop and then a seated senton off the top rope, Coastal. A freaking seated senton, and he hooked the legs and packaged Brumach and gets a clean win over Brumach. Outstanding, unbelievable, being a step ahead of the Buffalo at the end, man. Wow. For Sergey, wow.
It's a huge win for Sergey. It kind of cements, hey, this isn't a fluke thing.
Right.
Sergey has a title, and he's going to show us why he deserves it. And I just have visions of Sergey sitting in his big recliner, popping in the old VHS tapes of old wrestling. He goes, seated senton, try move. He's writing them down because he has a new one every week, and they're working. I think what he's doing right now is I think he's playing into being unpredictable. If there's one thing you could say about Sergey's offense, it is unpredictable.
From moment one.
Yes,
too.
from
So
moment
for him to keep
one.
that going is solid.
Yeah, so I think he's actually playing into his advantage of being unpredictable. And we saw tonight with a move that, honestly, when he went up there, I was like, oh, this is bad. This is real bad again.
Oh, no, sir.
And he surprised me again, man.
It wasn't the prettiest thing in the whole world.
No.
Which I think plays into what you were saying, Coastal. Ooh, try. And he tried.
Yeah.
That's not your typical way in pro wrestling. He has fear, and there's no fear, no abandonment. He just goes for it in the most unbelievable and somewhat successful in recently, and he's been successful. You can't argue what he's doing, I guess, right, guys?
And You really can't. This is important for Sergey to keep this kind of momentum going, for him to keep the offense questioned by everybody else. What's Sergey going to do? We've seen superstars do that many times. Briscoe Crown's a shining example of that. For a while, it was the crowning achievement, and next thing you know, he's busting out with 3 or 4 different moves. Now he's using a reverse DDT. He's using all kinds of moves to win, so he's kind of really keeping people guessing. And let's not take away here, Brumak was fighting like hell in this match, because in the beginning of it, we heard by presidential decree that this match was for the Ignition Championship. Even though Brumak wasn't up there at 5, this was by decree, basically. I mean, I'm sure the powers that be at RMP sat and talked and gave Brumak this one because he did win that reset gauntlet match in very dominating fashion, to be completely honest. And he had been a mainstay and a staple on Ignition, and I think this was proper to give the kid a shot and see how well Brew would do. And Brew won, in my opinion, in the Masshole's opinion, Brumak won 80% of this match. But Sergey won the last 3 seconds. And that's how you win a wrestling match. Great match by Brumak. Unbelievable match. He threw everything but the kitchen sink at Sergey, but Sergey was just there with that one move out of nowhere to get the dub. And
one move of doom.
Still your Ignition champion.
Sergey is on a bit of a roll here, and you just hop on.
It's fun.
Join it.
It's fun.
Hop on. Seriously.
And just see where it takes us. Is he going to be a RMP Hall of Famer? No.
Probably not.
Is Sergey ever going to be Rocky Mountain Pro champion? Don't see it.
He is Hall of very, very good. Hall of very, very good.
Hall of very, very good. This is good. Merry Christmas.
But there's a lot of great WWE, WCW who never have, never will, but you love to watch them because they entertain you. And that's part of all of it. And I think that's what's special about Sergey is, nope, that senton was not the prettiest thing on the planet, but boy, it was effective. No. It was fun to see. And you can almost live, as guys who've, you've been in a battle royal. You've never been in a match.
Not long, but yes, I was in
one. It in some ways you can live vicariously through Sergey.
Yes.
And I do. Personally, I honestly do. When I watch him and I look at that, I absolutely live vicariously that way.
All I can think of every time Sergey wins is Kevin Garnett screaming anything is possible after they won the title that year in Boston. Because that's just what I feel like. Anything is possible with Sergey.
Yeah,
it really is the ultimate Cinderella story in all of professional wrestling, in my personal opinion.
As you say that, I have Al Michaels' call in my head when he won the championship a couple of weeks ago. Do you believe in miracles?
Yeah.
That's funny.
He did what?
Yeah, it's ride it for as long as it ride it. Jet will never be aboard the Sergey train, but that's okay. That's okay. There's a long-seated history of hatred between Canadians and Russians. It's more than pro wrestling. It's politics.
That is true.
Final thoughts from you guys. Coastal.
Again, I am impressed tonight because of different reasons. Everyone always says the champions are there because they dominate. Tonight, in pretty much every championship match, we saw what Marky said earlier. Champions struggling and having to survive. Sergey, Adrian Mascara, everybody, all the champions tonight really had a hard time, and that just goes to show you can't miss a week because these young wrestlers are coming.
That's true, man. You cannot miss a week on Ignition. There's so many things that happen. You get outstanding commentary from Lucas and Stone. You never know. You might hear from JK Pop and Preston, and we hear a little more of what's going on. I have a personal interest in that. I can't wait for this to fall flat on their face. I'm really hoping that that goes okay and that this little bridge is kind of rebuilt and everything's all right. The champions having a hard time, but still coming out champions. I'm telling you, Ignition, there's so much going on. You have to be here every Thursday night. It is absolutely the place to be on Rocky Mountain Pro during the week. Charged Ignition. You can't miss them, baby. Can't miss them.
You were right. The best call in the world. Pat Hughes. Cubs win the World Series.
I'll
on
take
that
Joe
note,
Buck. Red Sox fans have waited 86 years.
You know, it's
wait
the
wait
biggest
till you hit a
travesty.
century, brother. You ain't suffered. Don't give me this.
Oh,
Oh,
it
we
was-
didn't champion in 87. Yeah,
It-
100 plus, baby.
We had to have Joe Buck announce our World
I
Series. Though. That
know.
was the only lemon that they didn't squeeze in the lemonade. Like that was the sour, nasty seed in the lemonade of it. We had to listen to Joe Buck, but otherwise, yeah. No, as Red Sox fans, we kind of together.
We got it.
We do.
got it.
We're like stepbrothers to each other. We feel each other.
My last thought on Ignition is something to play off of what you just said, Coastal. Things are very competitive right now. Maybe as competitive as we have seen. We sat here, talked about it a few weeks ago. Every championship, said one, changed hands at our last pay-per-view event. Champion struggling tonight. Competitive. And that should excite everyone because, the Charge Championship's being defended. I damn well better watch. It could flip hands. Something to keep an eye on. That's a good thing, though, and one that I'm excited for us to talk about more. Speaking of more, we'll be back Sunday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard, 9 p.m. Eastern, for the Rocky Mountain Rewind. We'll pick up where we left off last week on the road to Milestone 3, seeing some very, very early content from NRW. That's who we were before we were Rocky Mountain Pro. And very excited to see that. Of course, next Tuesday, we'll be here again. I'll be in the guest host slot, I think, for one last week. We'll update you guys next week on more details. But you got to watch next week on Charge. Oh, my God. Charge 6 p.m. Mountain. Dak Draper taking on Caden Koyama. That excites me. I can't wait for Tuesday. I'm ready to skip everything and go right there,
I'm in. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'll have some popcorn ready.
Hell yeah. So that's what we got going on. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Helps to, support the channel. Helps YouTube to go, hey, this is quality entertainment. Send it to other wrestling fans across the multiverse. Make sure you help us out in that way. If you want to hit the subscribe button, notification, that supports us as well. It doesn't cost you a thing. The notification bell lets you know when we go live so you don't miss anything live. And a lot of content is being dumped onto this channel from previous years of Ignition. It's amazing how much is up there. You guys are responding. Over 100 subscribers a month is in the average now. That's all you guys, and we're very appreciative. And if you want to take the next step and help us a little bit more, hit the join button. You got 2 levels there. $4.99 gets you to, you're supporting. You get member chats. You get emotes, all of that stuff. If you want to go the next level and be the full-on fan, hit the PPV version. Hit the pay-per-view membership. That gives you all of the live events that Rocky Mountain Pro puts out. The next one, 2 weeks from tonight. And it'll be Supercharged. Ignition preempted for Supercharged. Should be a heck of a show. Don't know anything about it. That's how Superchargers are kind of going to, I guess, are going to be. I don't know. But definitely love the surprise of it also. That's 2 weeks. And another a pay-per-view on the horizon, guys. Shocktober. I kind of like the spooky season. Thing about Shocktober that's coming up. We're talking about all these things being competitive and all this. Shocktober is the perfect time. There's always a shock at Shocktober. I don't think it was planned. It definitely wasn't planned that way. But man, we're in that headway to fall colors, cooler temperatures in Shocktober. Final thoughts for the evening, gentlemen.
I can't wait for Shocktober. I'm excited.
Yeah. Supercharge coming up shortly. Shocktober coming up after that. kind of feel connected with that. Was there a couple of years ago. It was a good time, not for Johnny, but it was good enough for you either, Titus. But there's always something that seems to happen at Shocktober, and we are leading up to that 1 week at a time. Be here, watch the shows, check out the story, pick your guy, pick your girl, and we'll run with them, and we'll see what happens later at the show. Right now, RMP landscape changes weekly. Be here, check it out.
You know, I've changed my opinion on the shock of Shocktober because I was one. Be getting popped that way. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate all of your support. We will see you guys on Sunday night for the Rocky Mountain Rewind. Thank you guys so much. See you then.